Welcome back to All Chiefed Up, where we do Kansas City Chiefs news, analysis, and more. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell. We're going to get into the top 5 keys on how to beat the San Francisco 49ers this weekend. Mike, what's number 1, baby?
Key number 1, we just need Kansas City to keep it simple this week. That means let's just run the ball. Let's just have some power run. We say this every time. Let's just do it. Short passes, screen game. Let's do that. Good tackling. 1A, I'm going to give 1A stopping the run. The 49ers just brought in McCaffrey. Steve thinks he's going to play this week some. I thought he would probably sit out a week since he just got in town on a Friday, but what do you think, Steve?
I think Shanahan's going to have him learning at least the red zone package. I think you'll see him in the game a little bit, just to mix it up. I mean, he's an athlete, so if he even knows what's going on a little bit, he can be an asset to him. But yeah, Chiefs need to keep it simple. Just the basics, man, the fundamentals. If you just stick to the basics, all the good stuff's going to come. You have all the talent in the world on your team. We just need that front four being solid against the run, like you said. And I think this could be a win for the Chiefs. So that's definitely going to be a big thing, though, is just being disciplined, no stupid penalties, sticking to the basics, sticking to the fundamentals, and just, playing good football. All right, the number 2 key to beating the 49ers is going to be to create some turnovers. The Chiefs are actually like 27th in the league on creating turnovers. I think they've only had 5 this year. This defense has been fairly solid to be such a young, new group. But they need to figure out how to turn that ball over a little bit, man. They need to get home on some of these interceptions that they're keying in on and things like that. I think that we're going to need it, going through this season. And this could be a game where we're going to need some turnovers just to get that advantage,
Yeah, so the 49ers have a lot of injuries this week to deal with. Bosa's a little nicked up. Jimmy Ward, the safeties, kind of banged up a little bit. You have Charvarius Ward. It's a who's who down their list of who is going to play and who's not. And so if we can catch them, a little banged up, a little injured, but we can get it together, get some turnovers forced, keep the ball safe ourselves, I think we should win no problem here. Okay, key number 3 today, it's going to be contain the playmakers. We just talked about how they got a lot of people banged up. We don't know really who's going to play, who's not going to play. If they do play, will they be efficient? But we do know that Kittle looks to be decently healthy right now. Garoppolo's healthy. McCaffrey may play a few, snaps here and there. And then, of course, they've got Deebo Samuel, who we got to contain. I kind of wonder if Spags is going to kind of leave him on an island this week against Deebo.
Hey, you just said that Jimmy Garoppolo was the playmaker. That's rich, bud.
Well, he's their quarterback. So.
Yeah, but I think they continue to blitz. I mean, that's what Spags does. It was the right call last week against Buffalo. I'm sorry, but it was. Everyone's kind of mad because he left Joshua Williams out there on an island by himself with these good receivers. But hey, it's time to put your big boy pants on. You're in the NFL. This is going to happen. You're going to have to do that sometimes. So that was a learning experience for him. And I just think you can't do it any other way. That's the way Spags calls the game. And I think he called a great game against Buffalo, and I think he continues to do it this week.
Yeah, so there's a lot of heat on Kansas City right now, specifically our pass rush. It's been rumored by CBS Sports that we may be looking to get Cam Jordan. There's a few other ones. Brian Burns, RGR's been throwing that out for weeks, months, years, until they're just like wishing it into existence. I don't know if it's really going to happen, but I think this is a week that Karlaftis and Frank Clark have to get it together. We have to create more pressure on Garoppolo. That is easier said than done because they will run the ball probably 85% of the plays. So it kind of turns into one of those high school games, where those kids just run 85% wishbone plays and you're barely getting to the quarterback. That's what San Francisco reminds me of half the time.
Right. But like you said, one of the keys here is going to be to stop their big playmakers. So if you contain George Kittle, you can't let him get hot. He's a very streaky player. We've talked about it before. He had 210 yards in 1/2 in a game. So if he gets going, he can really do some damage. So we have to make sure they don't string a lot of receptions together to George Kittle. And then, of course, you got to always watch out for Deebo in the run game and the pass game because he can always bust off a big play like it's nothing. Just a tidbit on what you were talking about, though. George Karlaftis actually has more pressures than any other rookie in the league right now. He even has more than Aiden Hutchinson. So he's creating a lot of pressure. He's catching a lot of flack. If he could just get home on a few of those, I think he could shut some people up.
Right. He's just not getting home. But to hear it from Chiefs Kingdom and everybody, George Karlaftis is a complete piece of trash that we just rolled out there because we have nothing better. And I'm seeing it from a lot of content creators. I'm seeing it from you name it, they're all on George Karlaftis, and I think it's a little unwarranted. He is a rookie. We knew what we were getting. He's not the most explosive guy in the world. He's not the twitchiest guy in the world. He's a guy that gets out there and just plays hard, plays fast. He's got a good motor. The sacks will come. All he's got to do is pressure. Frank Clark should be cleaning that up from the other end. Chris Jones should be cleaning that up from the middle. Here's one. How about our guys get some tackles and quit letting these quarterbacks out of the pocket and keep creating? That's another thing. But it's neither here or there. We'll get Willie Gay back this week. That's big. So yeah, let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is going to be third down conversions. The Chiefs, that is what we know, that we live and die by that third down conversion. It's been so many times we like to get in 2nd and 8, 2nd and 7, and we run those little delayed handoffs and we get stuffed at the line because everybody knows it's coming, and it's constantly putting Mahomes in 3rd and longs. He's always having to create. He gets tunnel vision on Kelsey half the time. It puts more pressure on our tackles to hold up longer. It's easier for Mahomes to make a 3-yard pass and that amount of time it takes than to let these receivers get all the way to the chains 10 yards up the field. Of course, our offensive line is going to let up a few more pressures here and there doing that. So I believe third down conversion is big, and this just goes into play calling and in general. I believe the play calling needs to be on par this week.
Right. And just on that fact, we actually have the most efficient team when it comes to third downs in the NFL, which is impressive considering the fact that this Reed offense gets them in a lot of third and long situations. But we've seen it before. Third and shorts, 4th and short even. These little passes that they can come off the plays that Andy Reid comes up with are highly effective. So, I mean, if we could be on 3rd and short a lot of the time, we can just get those little pill-off passes to McCole Hardman or Travis Kelce or whoever. It's a high percentage play. We can't keep doing a 3rd and long and expect to keep up the efficiency that we've had so far. So I think we definitely need to start moving the ball more on 1st and 2nd down. So, yeah, I think that's definitely something to look at this week.
Okay, so number 5, this is our last one. Don't squander opportunities. We've had this one up a few times. Last week, we did that. We squandered, at least 3 points when Mahomes threw that pick to Elam there in the corner of the end zone. We squandered 3 points when Butker, hooked the field goal. We just squandered points. The officiating took a few points off the board from us. That's always going to happen. I get it. It's always going to happen. But we need to limit that. That way, when those bad calls do come, we don't get hit with it. It's not as effective in the fourth quarter when we're up 20 than when we're in the fourth quarter up 3. So I think that's a thing. We need to be more efficient with our scoring opportunities. We had talked yesterday about we only have to hit like the 40-yard line of the opposing team, and Butker's good from there. So it's like, just get to the 40 and let's put some points on the board.
Yeah, that should definitely be some the way they look at it sometimes. It can't always be all or nothing. I mean, we just got to get the ball to the opposing team's 40-yard line, and you can put points on the board. 98% of the time, probably, he's going to make those field goals. So that takes some pressure off of your offense as well, too, because then you can start hitting these little home run plays here and there and scoring your touchdowns. But I think they definitely can't waste any. I don't want to see any 3-and-out drives this week. I'm so tired of the completely stale play calling that just you see a 3-and-out, nothing worked, and they come out and they do the same thing the next drive. We can't have that. We got to see some adjustments. Before we get into the game predictions, thanks for liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell. Mike, what do you have for this game against San Francisco on Sunday?
Okay, so I think the Chiefs bounce back this week in San Francisco. Again, I think San Francisco's very one-dimensional right now. I believe having Willie Gay get back, I believe Nick Bolton's playing at a high level. I do think we should be able to stop the run a little bit. That will probably still get over 100 yards, but I still think it'll be enough that we'll keep them from Jimmy G having to beat us, because I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm going to say 33-24 Chiefs over 49ers, and I'm going to give the game ball to none other than Zeus, Travis Kelce himself, Big Yeti out there. Big Yeti. 2 touchdowns, 115 yards, and he's going to prove he's the best tight end on the field.
I think it's going to be a bounce back game for the Chiefs after that loss to Buffalo. I think they come out. I think the offense is going to look a little more efficient. It looked like Juju was getting a little more comfortable in the offense last week. MVS has been as well. So I think we see some more involvement from the receivers. Might even see Sky Moore break one off and actually get a touchdown this week. But I'm going to go ahead and say 42-20 Kansas City. MVP of the game. It's the easy one, but I'm going to say Patrick Mahomes. I think he's going to have 4 touchdowns. I think it's just going to be a good bounce back week for the guys. I also think that the offensive line is going to do just enough to win the game. They're facing yet another elite front 4 and another good pass rusher in Nick Bosa. And, they've been catching a lot of flack Last week was actually their worst game for the tackles. Orlando and Wiley both let up the most pressures they have all season last week, but they still did enough to win the game. I mean, end of story. We should have had that game in the bag. So I think, people need to chill a little bit. It's easy to say Orlando Brown, he's had more pressures let up this year than he ever has, and he's on pace for the lowest PFF grade he's ever had in a season. Well, guess what, guys? You're basing this on a little segment of 6 games where he's faced the elite pass rushers. So just calm a little bit and let's see how this thing plays out.
Yeah, I just can't with this PFF and all these pressures and all this. I've watched this game 4 times, and I did not see that many pressures let up by those tackles.
I think they said that Wiley let up 9 and Orlando Brown let up 7.
I did not see 7. I would love somebody to clip those 7 rushes, those pressures from Orlando Brown, and post them up for me to look at, because I've watched that game 4 times, and I swear to you, I found maybe 2 more where he got pushed back a little bit. He's still holding up, and Mahomes still sits in the pocket and throws the ball. Just because he's an inch from Mahomes doesn't mean Mahomes even felt it enough to get out of the pocket. So I'm just so curious how PFF is doing this. Are they watching the same games we are?
Who even knows? I don't think they are. Sometimes you have to think they're the same ones that said Patrick Mahomes was a backup quarterback. So
I mean, don't get me wrong. Our fans are all over these tackles. They all hate them. PFF backs it up.
It's not just the fans. It's all of the media. The YouTube channels, the podcast, everybody on them.
But I'm still going back and watching these games, and when you start watching them, I'm not seeing them helping Orlando Brown and Wiley a lot with chip blocks. I'm seeing them on an island blocking their guy, and I don't think they're getting as much pressure as they're saying they are. I don't know what they're considering a pressure. I would love to be informed on what they're considering a pressure. Should I just make a video of Orlando Brown every snap he makes, highlight him, and put it up? It might be 35 minutes, and I'll get flagged for every content copyright under the sun, but I think I'm going to do it.
Let's do that. That'd be fun, actually. Let's do an offensive line, strictly offensive line. We'll do the Buffalo game since it's their worst game.
Yeah, let's go back. Let's clip every single play, and you guys watch it with us and let us know where we're wrong, because I'm curious.
Once again, Chiefs Kingdom, thanks for liking, subscribing, hitting that bell. Thanks for joining us today. Make sure you stick around. Watch this video coming up right now. It's actually about how the referees need to get on it. Stop calling these bad calls. Swaying games.
Quit whining, Steve. You only call out calls for the Chiefs.
I know. Bye.
There goes a sight from my soul.